cost, meaning up to 1,50,000 rupees, we will give them from our account.
Okay.
So that we have to understanding with the insurance company also. So we are taking a lot of decisions regarding road safety, but finally we need cooperation from the society, from the people, about a lot of law. We are already have a enforcement of law is there. We are making strong laws. We are charging big penalties. Still, the behavior of the people we need to change. That is to be very important. And for that reason, we are particularly concentrated on the students from 5th to 10th standard students to train them, because they are the citizens of the future. And that is the reason now we are also making a lot of campaigns with using a lot of celebrities by giving this message that the road safety is very important. We have a good song from Shankar Mahadevan on road safety. We are trying. I am expecting that positively. It's a very crucial problem, and we are expecting some reduction in the road accident in due course of time.
Mr. Gadkari, this is your favorite idea, the electric vehicle. You and your ministry have heavily promoted green mobility and ethanol-based fuel. But the overall adoption of electric vehicle remains a huge challenge. People are not really accepting it as much. Do you think it has to do with, perhaps the large-scale EV charging networks which are still missing from national highways?
I am very sorry. This is not the fact. Today there is 40%, 50% rise in the sale of electric buses, electric cars, electric scooters, and auto rickshaw, even e-rickshaw also. And now people are preferring electric. Now the car is charging for 400 kilometers. As per the detailed survey from the companies, the one scooter in city area, they are only running 24 to 26 kilometers per day. And a scooter is charged for 125 kilometers. So at the night, going to house, they can charge it. There is no problem about it. Even in a car also, it is maximum 80 kilometers a day. And the car is charged for 300 kilometers. There is no problem. The problem is when you are taken electric car from Mumbai to Delhi, then there is a problem. So in NHI, in our roadside amenities, we are developing 670 charging stations. So I feel that this is not a problem. It is very popular now. And now people are taking CNG cars. People are taking electric cars. People are taking flex engine car, where 100% ethanol we are using in place of petrol. And that I have got the car. With that car is having electric charging, by which they are 60% of the car is running on electric and 40% of the ethanol. So cost is coming approximately 25 rupees per liter as a petrol.
So are you a satisfied man after managing your ministry, running your ministry for so many years, that you have achieved everything that you set out for?
No. That is not the thing.
It's a work in progress.
Even many things for the country. I always feel that there is no limit for any ambition, anything which you need to work for the country. There is no end. We are the fastest growing economy in the world. Our dream of Prime Minister to make Indian economy of $5 trillion. And for that purpose, we need to develop good infrastructure. I am giving a good example. Today, we have got the report from IIT Kanpur and IIT Chennai and IIM Bangalore. And in the report, they stated that the logistic cost in India was 16%. Now, in the European country, it is 12%, and China, it is 8%. But because of good roads, good infrastructure, now that cost is reduced by 4 to 6%. It is accepted by the report. Means it comes to 10%. I am very much confident within a year, it will be less than 9%, come to 9%, single digit, and that is going to increase our export 2 times. So this type of the economy, the way in which our economy is going to develop, to create more jobs, to have more export, to reduce the import, it is to be a great thing for the country. Under leadership of Prime Minister Modi ji, I am very much confident that we fulfill the expectation of the people of India. And the way in which we are doing, every time we resolve the issue, again we are making new roads, making green express highway, making tunnels, then making ropeway, cable car, everything, every time technology is changed. So it is a continuous process. There is no end to anything. And when you give something to the people, the expectation of the people also is increased. So that is to be a continuous process.
So this burden of expectations is making you work harder?
No, I don't have any burden. I always feel that the politics is an instrument of socio-economic reform. I have my limitations. I don't have any capability that I can resolve all the problems. But whatever the capability which I have, I will try my level best to do something for the people of this country, for the society, and that is my responsibility, that is my conviction. I am trying my level best to fulfill that dream, which is expectation of the people of our society, of our country. I am trying for that.
Mr. Gadkari, a couple of political questions now, and one of the big decisions which has been taken by your government is the caste census. Of course, the political opposition of yours is claiming credit for it, that it was the demand of the principal opposition for so many years, and it has been finally achieved, that you acted under pressure. What do you think will be the impact of caste census, particularly in the upcoming elections? And I'm going to begin with Bihar, which goes to polls in a few months from now.
In politics particularly, sometimes you need to have the decisions as far as the expectation of people by and large. By considering that, it is to be very important for you to take the decisions. I feel that this decision is going to helpful to BJP and NDA in Bihar, and we will get really a good victory we are expecting in Bihar.
But sir, overall the impact of caste in Indian politics, and of course, the sense is that this can have an impact also in the private sector. What next after caste census is the question.
Actually, my conviction that greatness of any person is not depending upon his caste, creed, sex, religion and language. It is related with his qualities, and that is to be the philosophy which is a part of conviction to my party. So we are never thinking on the line of caste, religion, creed and sex. So I feel that, but at the same time in the politics is a game of compromises, compulsions, limitation and contradictions. We need to understand the sentiments of the people, because this is very important. But as far as the philosophy of our party is concerned, we don't want to discriminate anybody on the basis of caste, creed, sex and language.
But Mr. Gadkari, you are someone who's seen as a leader who has cross-party acceptability and an administrative focus, someone who has seen several winters in politics. Do you get the sense that Indian politics is also becoming very shrill?
Every time politics is going to change. Generations are going to change. The people expectations are going to change. It is the art of leadership. They need the faith of the people and with the positivity. And the politics of development, I feel that this is the politics of development is the politics of 21st century. And the credibility and commitment for the development is very important. To make India economically strong, to make India as far as defense point of view, make it strong, to make India strong in agriculture, in the industrial sector, to make Indian economy strong in the whole world. And that is to be the great mission for we as a political party, BJP, under the leadership of Modi ji, we are giving highest priority for that. And that is to be most important thing, that people have more expectation, at the same time they recognize and respect whatever the development of 11 years of our regime under leadership of Modi ji, people are accepting that. That is to be a great thing for all of us.
And sir, the kind of criticism that came in from the opposition, particularly Rahul Gandhi with regards to Operation Sindoor and the ceasefire, he says it is Narendra surrender. And this is coming at a time when multi-party delegations which were sent by your government to various countries has returned, but Rahul Gandhi is not stopping. He is continuing to take that jibe at the Prime Minister.
Actually, anything which is in the national interest, it is very important for the political party and the leaders. We should not politicalize that. This is the time that we need to unite it against the terrorist organization and the enemy countries like Pakistan. So we are expecting that a support from all type of leaders belongs to different political party. But some of the people are politicizing it. It is unfortunate. It's not good.
My last question to you, and this is to former BJP president. As we wait for the new BJP president, when is it likely?
It's an important question to a wrong person. You should ask this question to Naddaji and he will give the answer for that.
Mr. Gadkari, pleasure speaking to you, sir. But I'm going to ask you again that question, that after having spent so many years in the government, are you a satisfied man that you have achieved all that you wanted, or do you think it's a long list of achievements that you still hope for?
There is a long list of achievement and there is a long list of pending agenda. Whatever the politics may be, whatever the opportunity to me, I want to work more for the people, for the country, and that is my mission. So politics is an instrument of socio-economic reform and national reconstruction. I am doing my level best. I am a small person. Whatever possible for me, I will try to do for this country. That is exactly the thinking of nationalism is a part of our conviction, and we are all working for that.
Mr. Gadkari, thank you so much for speaking to NDTV.
Thank you.
The markets move fast.
And so should your portfolio. Expert insights, real-time stock picks,
Do I buy Ola?
Should I hold CDSL for the long term?
buy, sell or hold.
The answers you need, straight from the experts.
Callers from India and across the world. Connect live, ask, decide and invest wisely.
Your portfolio, your future. Ask Profit.
In today's interconnected world, India's voice is more crucial than ever. When India speaks, the world listens. At NDTV World, we are that voice, bringing you intelligent and insightful news from India and beyond. From geopolitics and diplomacy to economic shifts, migrations, tech disruptions, and the stories of our diaspora. We cover the news that shapes our global future. NDTV World, your new home for global news is here.
In the last 1 month, if you see, the share prices of Genzol Engineering has fallen more than 58%.
Why are the rating firms calling the debt payments as default?
We have two credible credit rating agencies on March 4th coming and downgrading the stock to D.
Statements are consistently being proven wrong,
Right.
And transactions are being taken place which are different from what they were originally pictured to be.
The company claimed it would roll out 6,400 electric vehicles. But what it has rolled out is a shocking scam. Funds meant for the project were funneled allegedly back to the promoters, the Jaggi brothers. What did the money buy? Not EVs, of course, but a lavish flat in Gurgaon's luxurious DLF Carmelias.
News is not just headlines, it is what impacts you. And news should never be mistaken for noise. What matters is the reality. Accurate, in-depth, and with the right perspective. For over 20 years, I have been a journalist, and never has clarity mattered more than now. At Newsnight, we go beyond the surface. We dissect the details, challenge the narratives, and bring you the unparalleled clarity you deserve in a world clouded by misinformation. We are bold, we are direct. Newsnight, for the news in your interest. Only on NDTV 24/7.
Why was there a hurry? Was it the government that was in a hurry?
I don't want to blame anyone.
Joining us today here in the NDTV newsroom.
Government cannot walk away from this responsibility.
Cricket is a region of sort in this country.
Would you like to comment on what happened?
What is the condition of the injured at this point? How many people died?
What exactly happened? You have lost your daughter.
If it matters to you, if it matters to you, if it matters to you, it matters to India. It matters to India. And it matters to me. And it matters to me.
India Matters with Shivaru. Only on NDTV 24/7.
How often have you turned away from debates that descend into endless fights? We bring you a show where every question is answered, where every debate finds
Israel has struck Isfahan nuclear site. Yet again, the IDF says that 50 jets have bombed Iranian targets. DGCA cracks the whip on Air India. Air India is set to remove 3 officials over safety lapse. Air India says that they are committed to ensuring safety protocols. The last video of businessman Sanjay Kapoor. In this particular clip, Sanjay Kapoor is getting CPR at the UK polo ground. Pakistan has nominated US President Donald Trump for the 2026 Nobel Peace Prize. Trump, in the meanwhile, says that he won't get the Nobel Peace Prize no matter what he does. Priyank Kharge gets the centre's nod for his United States visit. The Karnataka minister calls out the MEA's U-turn. Hello and welcome. You're watching NDTV 24/7. I'm Usama Shah. Big breaking news coming in at the top of this hour. The Shillong court has sent Sonam as well as Raj, her accomplice, to 13 days judicial custody. The Meghalaya police, in the meanwhile, did not ask for further custody. Remember earlier, 2 days ago, the District Sessions Court of Shillong had sent Sonam Raghuvanshi and Raj Kushwaha to 2-day police custody, and the other 3 accused, Akash Rajput, Vishal Singh Chauhan and Anand, to 14-day judicial custody in that chilling murder case of businessman Raja Raghuvanshi, who took a trip to Sohra in Meghalaya for a honeymoon with his wife Sonam Raghuvanshi. And the latest that we can tell you at this moment is that the Meghalaya the Shillong court has now sent Sonam as well as Raj to 13 days judicial custody.
Both the accused were produced today before the court. Custody is over today. So both the accused were sent for 13 days judicial custody.
13 days, sir.
13 days judicial custody.
Okay.
Okay.
पुलिस ने रिमांड नहीं मांगा था?
No. Police didn't ask for any remand. Just prayed for judicial custody. So after hearing, court has granted 13 days judicial custody for both the accused.
Remember, the SIT team of Meghalaya Police, it had presented Sonam Raghuvanshi and other 4 accused people in the court on Thursday, after which they were granted 2-day judicial custody. And the latest is that the Shillong court has now sent Sonam as well as Raj to 13 days judicial custody. And as the police officer there in that bite was mentioning, that the Meghalaya police did not ask for further custody, but the court still decided to give 13 days judicial custody for Sonam as well as Raj. My colleague Ratandeep Chaudhary joins us to get us more on this. Ratandeep, take us through the latest.
A short while back, Sonam and Raj were both brought together at the District Session Judge Court of East Khasi Hills in Shillong. And there inside the court, the Meghalaya police actually did not ask for any further extension of police remand of Sonam and Raj. Remember, the 2 days police remand was about to end today evening, and therefore they were produced. But police did not ask for further extension of the police remand, although they had the scope of taking them in police remand for at least for 4 days. But police did not ask for further custody, and therefore the court has sent Sonam and Raj to 13 days judicial remand. Now, what we are picking up from Meghalaya SIT sources is that because that team is in Indore, they are still investigating the case there with the help of Indore crime branch, and another team has gone to Gazipur to also investigate and record statement. Therefore, the police feels that at this moment, until and unless those teams return back and they analyze the investigation further and piece together information, they don't need Sonam and Raj for further investigation now or further.
All right, Ratndeep Chaudhary there. Thank you very much for getting us all the latest as far as this breaking news is concerned. India's aviation regulator, the DGCA, it has said that Air India needs to set straight its crew rostering system or face severe action, which could even include the airline losing its operator permission. In other words, its license to operate. The regulator wants 3 senior staff members responsible for crew rostering to be immediately removed from their post. In fact, the regulator has 3 specific concerns against these officials here. They have been accused of unauthorized and non-compliant crew pairings, violation of mandatory licensing, and systemic failures in scheduling protocol. We'll try and understand what the DGCA's action and its implications are concerned. In fact, I'm currently joined by Dr. Sumit Suseelan. He is an aviation expert, also an author. I have Captain Ishan Khalid, a veteran IAF pilot. He is also an ex-airline captain, an aviation expert himself. Captain Khalid, speaking about the DGCA's action and its implications, what does, when the DGCA says repeated and serious violations, what does it imply about Air India's internal compliance as well as the safety culture that is present at the moment?
Okay, first of all, we, Air India and all of us are grappling after the sad and very disastrous accident that has happened. And there is obviously a heightened anxiety with everyone, including the operators, pilots, passengers, and it will also be there for the regulator. So they are addressing things that should have been addressed maybe earlier. Well, it is their job to do, to monitor and find out where these limitations are not being followed by the airline. Flight duty time limitation. How many hours a pilot can work and thereafter fatigue will set in. It is a guideline which is given by the regulator and enforced by the regulator, and airlines make the roster according to that. Having said that, we should actually warn our viewers that this is absolutely not connected with Air India accident at Ahmedabad.
Okay.
There is no way that, slight incursion on the FDTL or fatigue, has in any way contributed towards this Air India accident, nor it could have. Like I said, it is an advisory guideline which keeps the fatigue level on the acceptable limit side. And this is an ongoing problem, tug of war between the regulator, pilot unions, pilots, and the airline. Airline would want us to work a little more. Pilots would like to take rest a little more. DGCA has to find a balance. And when there is no solution, all these parties have gone to the court. And even court has decided that, we will look at it more deeply and then give a decision. So some of the contentions which were there will now be effective on 1st of July, while the old FDTL will continue. So what you need to understand is neither the old FDTL nor the new FDTL are like, the reasons for accident. They may in a long term cause fatigue and then cause other things. Okay. Coming back to the present one, yes, Air India has been warned, has taken actions, and those people who were in charge of the rostering and they did not do the rostering properly as it was mandated and approved by the DGCA, it is something, it would have been much better if it was not a post-mortem issue and it was actually prevented upfront. There are software issues that can actually raise the flag for any incursions which are there. I don't know whether it was manually overridden. That would be gross. Okay, but world across, all the airlines suffer with this problem. And well, if you talk about other airlines cancelling, like, as we are talking today, there are over 300 flights cancelled or delayed in Europe. Okay. It is not only because of Air India, but all across. It is a peak travel time. And you would have delays and you would have some incursions like, but I'm not saying that those incursions are something that should be acceptable. Okay. It happens that the aircraft has diverted to Jaipur and then another 4 hours of waiting and then you have... So in that case, the provision is there that airline applies to the DGCA and says, I need an extension.
Okay.
And so you get the extension. So an incursion per se does not cause an accident.
Okay. Dr. Suseelan, I want to get your reaction on what Captain Khalid said about the tug of war between the Pilot Association and the aviation. And I also want to get your understanding of when the DGCA it issues a warning saying that your license is going to be suspended, operator permissions will be withdrawn. How significant is that warning?
Yeah, I should say that due to the rapid expansion in Air India, you can see that from past couple of years, they got back-to-back aircraft. They are in major shortage of the pilots. That's the reason somewhere the rostering are playing a major role over here. They are trying to pull up the crew who are already in the rest period. Because you can see last moment cancellation of the flight because of the shortage of pilots. Now they started few more bases like Bangalore, Ahmedabad, all these new bases from where they started doing ultra long haul flights. For ultra long haul flights, they used to have only 777, 787 pilots, and they were in short of these pilots. So that's why they were trying to pull the people who are all in the rest period. And there was a fight between the airline pilot association and the airline itself, Air India itself. They were fighting because of the rest period. The airline pilots wanted a rest period, whereas we know when they fly more, they get paid more. But if they are denying because of the fatigue, airlines should understand this part, that yes, they are in fatigue and they need sufficient rest period. And this is not the first time the Air India is getting the notice for following the rules. This letter was definitely followed up earlier in years also. But now the airline become the DGCA become very strict, and they're trying to give notice for the cancellation of license as well. Because definitely government is not in mood to entertain any type of accident in future. That's why this type of action is taken. Earlier also there was complaints. There are few airlines got this type of notice, and strict action was taken by the government also.
Right, but Dr. Suseelan, when you speak about the broader industry and safety concerns, specifically in this particular case, the DGCA's is this DGCA's sign of improved oversight, this proactive stance by the DGCA, or does it indicate that there is persistent underlying issues with Indian Airlines and specifically Air India?
It was highlighted earlier. There were some even C-arm issues. There are some crew resource management issue was there. There were fight between the pilots also in the cockpit earlier, whereas some of the pilots were grounded because of this reason. So there was a reason because of the schedulers. The rostering department were putting only the favorite crew in particular flight locations, something like New York flights, and some flights are always on high demand by pilot itself. So on that demand, they were doing something favorism to some pilots. So this thing was highlighted, and some juniors were highlighted this issue, and they got grounded by the airline itself. So now the airline, the DGCA itself had taken this thing observation and given this notice to the airline.
Okay, Captain Khalid, we understand that many of these major airlines, they manage their crew rostering in order to ensure that there is compliance, there is safety. A very quick word from you: Are there any best practices that Air India can adopt?
I think the best practices, about 2 decades back, it was all manual. Now there are softwares in place, and softwares are able to manage this rostering very well with very little input from the manager rostering. And but rightly said, it is not only that manpower issue is everywhere, including the DGCA. DGCA probably would be understaffed by 40%. That is why this notice has come now, which should have actually come in this same tone and tenor maybe 1 month back.
Correct.
Or maybe 6 months back. So understaffing is everywhere. Okay. Understaffing, but there is also a commercial pressure. Okay. Right now, just cancelling 10-15% of the flight, you would have ruckus at the airport.
True.
Because even the passengers are not very tolerant to delays and flight cancellations, and thereafter they want to go because they are not bothered about the FDTL, or they are not bothered about what is the pressure on their line. They have booked a ticket and they should go, and this is peak travel time. We will have a lot of problems with these cancellations coming up, and this will add on to the pressure to commercials.
Okay.
On commercials.
All right, Captain Khalid and Dr. Suseelan, we are running short of time, but thank you very much for your inputs, your analysis, and how does this incident reflect on the overall, state of safety oversight in aviation industry, and that is a question that still remains. Meanwhile, we'll step into a very short break, but the news will continue here on NDTV, and for the latest updates and all the breaking news, do not forget to subscribe to the NDTV YouTube channel.
As the Israel-Iran war escalates, pushing the world to the brink, I report live from Ground Zero to bring you an exploding conflict firsthand.
Hello, Moto.
Motorola, India's leading AI smartphone brand.
Israel strikes Isfahan nuclear site for the second time. IDF says that 50 jets have bombed Iranian targets. The DGCA cracks its whip on Air India. Air India is set to remove 3 officials over the safety lapse. Air India also says that they are committed to ensuring safety protocols. The last video of businessman Sanjay Kapoor gets viral in this particular clip. Sanjay Kapoor is seen getting CPR at the UK polo ground. 290 Indian students returned from Iran. 56 Indian pilgrims returned from Iran as part of Operation Sindhu. 2 more evacuation flights, in fact 1 more evacuation flight to arrive today.
As the Iran-Israel war escalates, Indian students in the crossfire.
हमें as soon as possible evacuate किया जाए.
War zone worries grip parents. The next Indian mass evacuation ahead. NDTV at Ground Zero.
If it matters to you, if it matters to you, if it matters to you, it matters to India. It matters to India. It matters to India. And it matters to me. And it matters to me.
India Matters with Shivaru, only on NDTV 24/7. Is your business future ready? Join the 13-week strategic ESG certification program for business sustainability and growth for CXO and business leaders by NDTV, Terry and Zenora. Master global ESG frameworks, gain real-world tools, and lead with impact. Starts July 13th. Enroll now and power your business with sustainability.
Do you really know the company you invest in? What is the real picture behind presentations and claims? Is the outlook as rosy as the company claims? Know Your Company, powered by NDTV Profit Research, shines a light on the biggest stock market movers.
I've been reporting on all issues big and small from Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, rest of South India, bringing you all the action, all that you need to know, all that you want to know.
The energy of maximum city is infectious. I'm bringing that energy in our news coverage from financial capital Mumbai.
Covering from the southernmost part of India over the last 23 years, I bring in-depth and 360-degree coverage from the Dravidian heartland.
The land of Mishti, also known for its bitter politics.
Yoga Day goes indoors. The theme is yoga and yoga with family. कोरोना के बावजूद इस बार की योग दिवस की थीम योगा फॉर वेलनेस ने करोड़ों लोगों में योग के प्रति उत्साह को और भी बढ़ाया है.
Well, it is International Yoga Day and it is the 11th year of the yoga celebrations across the country and around the world. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi, he has been leading the charge since 2015 in spreading the message of peace and spreading the message of yoga. In fact, yoga isn't just a solo stretch anymore. It is becoming a national spectacle. Yoga Sangam 2025, a grand initiative by the Ministry of Ayush, redefines the 11th International Day of Yoga. With over 1 lakh venues and millions joining in, this celebration of breath, body and unity, it is about to go down in history. In fact, speaking at the yoga event in Visakhapatnam, the Prime Minister, he said, it is remarkable how yoga is actually bringing the entire world together.
जब संयुक्त राष्ट्र में भारत ने प्रस्ताव रखा कि 21 जून को अंतर्राष्ट्रीय योग दिवस के रूप में मान्यता मिले और तब कम से कम समय में दुनिया के 175 देश हमारे इस प्रस्ताव के साथ खड़े हुए. आज की दुनिया में ऐसी एकजुटता, ऐसा समर्थन सामान्य घटना नहीं है.
Now people are becoming mentally sick. They are becoming problem for their families, for the society. If everybody will practice yoga, then at least that calmness and good things will happen for them, for the society. Always I am saying, one should practice yoga and do positive things. You will have a positive energy.
सब जगह पर आज का इंटरनेशनल योगा डे मना रहे और ये एक्सपीरियंस एक दिन का नहीं होना चाहिए, हर दिन का होना चाहिए, ताकि ये आज के ज़माने में बहुत लाइफस्टाइल चेंज हुई है, प्रेशर है, स्ट्रेस है लोगों में, और योगा की वजह से उनका स्वास्थ्य अच्छा होगा.
I think today in Visakhapatnam, the message that the Honorable Prime Minister gave was of utmost importance, that we need to move from inner peace to outer peace and global peace. And I think that is the need of the hour today.
Yoga has been very, very instrumental in shaping a lot of my life, and I feel practice on my mat genuinely makes me happy. It centers me, it gives me focus. All of that. So yes, I would give a lot of credit to yoga in my life.
मेरे ख्याल से मोदी जी ने शुरू किया है और इससे पहले हमारे रामदेव जी भी ने शुरू करवाया और कई लोग बाहर के मुल्क के लोग इसे पेटेंट करना चाहते थे, जो होने नहीं दिया. ये हमारी सभ्यता, हमारी तहजीब पुराना चला आ रहा है सदियों से.
My grandfather was a yoga teacher. So I've seen that happening all my life. I practice yoga and I can see the world, see the atmosphere all over the place, how people are. It's a very important message, not only for physical health but also for mental health.
We'll slip into a very, very short break, but the news continues here on NDTV. For the latest updates and all the breaking news, do not forget to subscribe to the NDTV YouTube channel.
As the Israel-Iran war escalates, pushing the world to the brink, I report live from ground zero to bring you an exploding conflict firsthand.
That's huge! That is a biggie! It's out there!
Gold Plus Clear Glass. Bar ho ya near, sab kuch dikhe clear.
In today's interconnected world, India's voice is more crucial than ever. When India speaks, the world listens. At NDTV World, we are that voice, bringing you intelligent and insightful news from India and beyond. From geopolitics and diplomacy to economic shifts, migrations, tech disruptions, and the stories of our diaspora. We cover the news that shapes our global future. NDTV World, your new home for global news, is here.
In the last 1 month, if you see, the share prices of Genzol Engineering has fallen more than 58%.
Why are the rating firms calling the debt payments as default?
We have two credible credit rating agencies on March 4th coming and downgrading the stock to D.
Statements are consistently being proven wrong, and transactions are being taken place which are different from what they were originally pictured to be.
The company claimed it would roll out 6,400 electric vehicles. But what it has rolled out is a shocking scam. Funds meant for the project were funneled allegedly back to the promoters, the Jaggi brothers. What did the money buy? Not EVs, of course, but a lavish flat in Gurgaon's luxurious DLF Carmelias.
News is not just headlines, it is what impacts you. And news should never be mistaken for noise. What matters is the reality. Accurate, in-depth, and with the right perspective. For over 20 years, I have been a journalist, and never has clarity mattered more than now. At Newsnight, we go beyond the surface. We dissect the details, challenge the narratives, and bring you the unparalleled clarity you deserve in a world clouded by misinformation. We are bold, we are direct. Newsnight, for the news in your interest. Only on NDTV 24/7.
Why was there a hurry? Was it the government that was in a hurry?
I don't want to blame anyone.
Joining us today here in the NDTV newsroom.
Government cannot walk away from this responsibility.
Cricket is region of sort in this country.
Would you like to comment on what happened?
What is the condition of the injured at this point? How many people died?
What exactly happened? You have lost your daughter.
If it matters to you, if it matters to you, if it matters to you, it matters to India. It matters to India. And it matters to me. And it matters to me.
India Matters with Shivaru. Only on NDTV 24/7.
How often have you turned away from debates that descend into endless fights? We bring you a show where every question is answered, where every debate finds its resolution, where every story finds its conclusion, where opinions collide but facts prevail, where stories unfold.
Huge news. Huge news. Did you know this was coming? That the makers of the Rafale, and that of course is the headline, has tied up with India's Tata Group, and Tatas are going to build entire Rafale fuselages. That's the main body of the aircraft in India, in a brand new factory.
Yeah, the TASL, Tata Advanced Systems Limited. And what are they going to be? Key structural sections, including lateral shells of the rear fuselage, the complete rear section, the central fuselage, and the front section.
That's the whole thing.
It's the in terms of the structure, apart from the wings, that's a very large component of the aircraft. That's huge.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about why it is.
Tata, which we'll get into a little deeper, does an incredible amount of work that people don't know about.
Yeah.
You know, they build stuff for the Apache, I think the entire fuselage of the Apache. They do a lot of work for the C-130J.
Yeah.
They do work for the F-16 wings, the Chinook tail section, etc. But this is the first fuselage of a combat fighter aircraft.
The reason we are having this conversation is because it basically implies that if the Rafale is picked for the Indian Air Force for a further order of 114 aircraft, it would only be viable as a deal if this entire production facility in Hyderabad comes up.
Yeah.
Why is that the case? Because presently the French, Dassault, has a backlog of 220 Rafale aircraft. That means they would need between 7 to 10 years to clear the backlog. The Rafale is really not of very much use to us, certainly not as much use to us if it were acquired within a finite period of time as opposed to starting 10 years from now. We need these Rafales now. Why is that the case? Because the deal for 114 aircraft, which is what the Indian Air Force was looking at, started in 2018?
Yeah.
7 years down the road, Shiv, how many of those MRFAs have we got?
Yeah.
A big zero.
Yeah, correct.
Right? And considering the number of years it actually takes for these jets to be manufactured and then be delivered, if this facility doesn't actually start working, and assuming that the Indian Air Force picks the Rafale, and that's a big if still, because there is a legal process, we're not forgetting about that, and we're not pushing the Rafale here either.
Of course not.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, that facility would be critical in meeting that requirement. And, Shiv, very importantly, a made-in-India aircraft, at least part of it, would be going to the United Arab Emirates, to Serbia, to Indonesia. To France.
Yeah.
Right, the Rafale will be part.
So there are
India.
a lot of very tantalizing threads to this story, and I want to make sure that you and I, Vishnu, separate them and discuss them threadbare because it's important. Number one, Vishnu is talking about the MRFA, which is the multi-role fighter aircraft, which is a contest, like you said, a legal process, where the Indian Air Force has been mandated to choose between a selection of foreign fighters, some of which it will buy off the shelf, but most of which it will build here in India, presumably about 100. So the number is 114.
Right.
Now, the reason why this MRFA is on the table before the Indian Air Force, Vishnu, is of course a painful and bittersweet tale, and I will very quickly relate it because we need to assume that at least some of our listeners and viewers may not be aware of that history. There was something called the MMRCA, and my hair still stands on end when I say those.
I go back letters. To the MRCA days, right? When you started work, they added another M to it.
So let me decode this alphabet soup. Right. MMRCA stood for Medium Multi-Role Combat Aircraft.
With two engines.
Yeah, a twin-engine fighter aircraft contest in which the government, and this was under the UPA government, it was decided that the Indian Air Force needed to acquire 126 fighters. Now, to cut a long and very, very troubled story short, the UPA government was bundled out of power. Before they did, they had down-selected and chosen the Rafale, but as it turned out, finances didn't work out, and there were other factors as well, as a result of which a deal was not closed with Rafale. In comes the Modi government in 2014. In 2015, Prime Minister Modi is in France. He announces that a deal is going to be signed with Dassault for the Rafale, but not for 126 fighters, only for 36 fighters. But since Vishnu, what was supposed to be 126 fighters only ended up as 36, a small percentage. That's the reason why we're talking about the MRFA now.
Way back in the late 90s, in early 2000s, we started looking at an MRCA, where the Indian Air Force was looking at single-engine replacement aircraft, right? The French said, all right, fine, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead, let's talk about the Mirage 2000. We sat on the file. The French said, sorry, that ain't happening anymore. We are shutting down the Mirage 2000 assembly. The Mirage 2000 still taking part in Op Sindoor, still a wonderful aircraft. We never went in for that. So they said, okay, great. We've got something now called the Rafale. It is better in all respects, almost all respects, than the Mirage 2000. So we had nothing to do. We needed to start considering other aircraft. We then in 2007 now started something called the MMRCA process, where we also started looking at other aircraft, right? Twin engine, the F-18 twin engine, the Eurofighter twin engine, Rafale twin engine, MiG-35 twin engine, right? The Gripen single engine, among others. No, in fact, I think that's essentially
and the Typhoon as well.
And the Eurofighter Typhoon, a twin engine, right? 2007, everybody got very excited. The entire process was looking like it was going to happen. Then we went into 2008. By 2015, it was hopelessly stuck, right? It wasn't happening. In fact, it was in 2015. In fact, it was by 2013 that it was hopelessly stuck. Why? Because the aircraft that the IAF wanted, which was the Rafale, they could never realize a price for this to be manufactured at Hindustan Aeronautics, which is what the overall goal was. Dassault, the manufacturer of the jet, also refused to certify components of the aircraft which were manufactured by HAL, saying that, hello, we will only certify, or we can only certify parts of the aircraft or the aircraft itself in its entirety if it's manufactured in our facility. We cannot do that.
We cannot vouch for something that's not manufactured by us.
Manufactured. That went down the tubes after all of those years. 8 years it went down the tubes. 2015, in 2015, we scrapped MMRCA, which we'd started in 2007. 2016, we signed on for just 36 Rafales. And I think it was in 2018 that we started MRFA. We are now in 2025 and we haven't got a single one.
The pressure on the Indian Air Force to get fighters, forget about stealth aircraft. The Indian government has made it clear that we're going to bet on the AMCA, which is India's own fighter. But getting these 4.5 generation fighters like the Rafale, which you've already sunk an enormous amount of money into, even the Indian Navy has signed on for them recently. And there are still these delays. But with this announcement, Vishnu, and that's my next question now, I'm wondering whether this means that things are much clearer as far as the MRFA, or we still can't jump the gun on that. I know as far as Indian procurement is concerned, nothing is over until it's over, right? Nothing is over until it's over, especially when the Rafale is theoretically competing against American fighters like the F-15 Eagle II. You've got Putin's Sukhoi 35s. You've got the typhoon theoretically as well. So it ain't over until it's over, and I completely agree with you on that. But by putting out this partnership, and this is not an MOU. This is an agreement which I'm assuming is going to fructify into a joint venture.
Yeah. 2028
is when the first fuselages will roll out. Which again, I'm assuming means that, work begins now. 2028 is 2 years away. That's like more than just a foot in the door?
No, I would suggest that they are leading in this competition. All the Indian Air Force officers that we speak to, and they couch this language carefully, so I'm going to be responsible in how I report this. They say that they've had an exceptional experience with the Rafale. The Rafale is the aircraft of choice for them, but they will go through this process. It is a legal process. It goes down to pricing, tendering, terms, capability of the aircraft, relevance, weapon systems, integration with Indian weapons, and all of that, and then a decision will be taken. Now, we had that same language which was stated in 2018, 2019, same language.
We've heard this before.
2025, nothing has changed, right? However, we've got 26 naval Rafales as well. We will be acquiring them from a few years down the road as a special arrangement. We're getting them starting out in 2028, maybe a handful of them. But India wants 140, and the French would jump at that. Any defense manufacturer in the world would jump at that. If our requirement is that, look,
you can't let go of
we need it now, or we are finally waking up to the fact that we need it as soon as possible, then they will all set up, or certainly the French have already acted, and they're setting up this facility. And the Tatas are, and the French are working with them for pre-production agreements or for agreements specific to the production of these components. But I'll tell you where it's worthwhile for Dassault. Suppose this order that we are talking about for more Rafales for India doesn't happen. With 220 aircraft in a backlog, including for France, primarily, the United Arab Emirates, I think, may have even more jets. Indonesia, Serbia, and other customers as well, they are sorted. The Rafale never had any orders when this entire process started. It was only for the French. It was not working out financially for them. Dassault was in all sorts of trouble because after the relative success of the Mirage 2000, the Rafale in a sense was very much a late bloomer. It came into its own much later on.
And also thanks in part to India's...
But thanks to the United Arab Emirates, my friend. Look at the number of orders which, we will eventually... have, I think, close to the same number of aircraft they do because you combine the Air Force and the Navy orders. And if this happens, then, we'll be close to France in terms of the total number. But it's an aircraft that has won incredible recognition. It's a fantastic platform.
So, no matter which way this goes, this Tata facility that's going to be building these fuselages...
it's a win-win for India.
Whether or not India chooses the Rafale, and that's a very big whether or not, because this... does give Dassault a very big, huge, meaningful, substantive advantage in the contest. This is win-win for India in terms of the global supply chain. Those fuselages will go into Rafales for other customers.
And I'll tell you how it's, there is an ecosystem of defense manufacturing which is only now expanding in India. Young aerospace engineers coming out of Indian aerospace regional colleges, Indian regional engineering colleges will be working over there. They'll be trained up by Dassault. They will be working for the Tatas. They'll be trained up further by the Tatas. They will be required to work on absolutely state-of-the-art aerostructures. They would be Indian component manufacturers who would be part of that ecosystem that sort of feeds into what the Tatas are looking to manufacture. The Tatas would need to deliver with micron-specific separations and to ensure that what they're delivering absolutely state-of-the-art. As more orders come in, that entire plant gets, it generates more revenue, it generates more jobs and all of that. And may I just go far ahead and suggest that this isn't going to end with the Rafale because the French are already looking at their 6th generation or the 5th generation aircraft, 5th plus, call it whatever you want, because the technologies are still changing. What is to say that may not be something which comes into play over here as well? Now, what does that mean for India? That's great. That means literally thousands of jobs.
Correct,
And so that is at the heart of Atmanirbhar. When people say Atmanirbharta, they think A to Z, this entire fighter plane is going to be built in India. No, components are. Because it makes more sense.
Which is what happens in France as well.
To perhaps take place elsewhere.
Correct.
But the fact that you've got Indians, earning a job, earning jobs, earning skills, the fact that you're exporting, so you're earning revenue within India, that's huge.
not a lot of people know, and I named some of the things that Tata Advanced Systems Limited already, builds here in India. We tracked it very closely. The biggest project that the Tatas have been involved in is the manufacture of an entire aircraft, the C295 military transport aircraft.
That's right.
A joint venture with Airbus.
The Avro replacement.
The Avro replacement aircraft. The C295 project that Tata is involved in, is in many ways their big test.
Yeah.
And those aircraft deliveries, there are tight timelines. There's a lot of pressure on Tata to get those aircraft out on time to the Indian Air Force as well. But it also shows that companies like Tata, and there are many others in this ecosystem, have been quietly doing much, much more complicated work right here in India. This is no longer just aerostructures and assemblies.
Yeah.
This is not subsystems. They're building entire airframes.
Yeah, they're building entire airframes to different designs, different specifications, different requirements for different forces. And they're doing this, at a very, very high standard of production because, these are all certifiable components and various regulators across the world, because the C295 is also a civilian aircraft, depending on the avatar that you want it in. So it would need to be certified at various levels. So you can't go wrong. You go wrong, A, it's dangerous, and B, you lose licensing, you lose your credibility, and that's not something the Tatas are going to get into at all.
Yeah.
So that's, it is impressive. And, we're talking about the Tatas. There are other companies as well in India that are doing great work. Dynamatics, for example, with fuselages. The fact that they've mastered carbon fiber technologies, and the spin-offs of that technology for any other platform, not necessarily even aircraft, that's absolutely huge. And we're talking about aircraft, Shiv. I mean, just look at the work that we've managed as far as manufacturing ships is concerned. That's going to be many episodes of Control All Defense. Again, the more the orders come, the more the ecosystem builds up. It's just win-win for India. This needs to be the heart of Atmanirbharta. And I will say one thing about Atmanirbharta. Where people get it wrong, they say that we need to manufacture A to Z of every single aircraft. You don't necessarily need to reinvent the wheel if you don't need to.
Would an Indian-built fuselage mean that the Rafale's acquisition cost actually comes down if we buy more?
India would look at it is that, yes, on the one hand, as a country, we are having to pay a certain amount for the aircraft, but the return is coming from the fact that it's being built in India, jobs are being generated, it supports an ecosystem of components, it fuels Indian industry, and it generates Indian exports. A part of that would be accrued to the system, right? But whether that brings down the cost of the aircraft, that's certainly something the government would want to negotiate. My sense is that wouldn't be the case.
The other question related to the Indian-built fuselages, the fuselage is a shell of the aircraft. But I think it's presumable that given that Tata is a company that has demonstrated the ability to really get into the bones of aircraft and do complex work, including R&D and innovation, I think it's reasonable to sort of assume that this will become a more complicated facility going forward.
Well, Shiv, we'll have to wait and see.
So my question is a specific one, Vishnu. Would this give the Indian Air Force or the Indian Navy, its operators here in India, some kind of a way to modify, get under the hood of the Rafale? I mean, I'm talking about officially, with the French on board.
Yeah.
But, a kind of easier way to have a greater degree of control over what goes into the Rafale.
Shiv, that's at the heart of the problem with Dassault right now. We love the aircraft. We want to integrate our own weapons because our own weapons, like the Astra Mark II, there'll be something called the Astra Mark III as well. That's totally coming of age. In fact, when it comes into service, will outrange the Meteor, which is the primary air-to-air missile of the Rafale. Now, the French are very clear. We aren't going to hand over our source codes. However, what we will do is we will work with you and we will help you integrate your platforms. It has to be sort of integrated into the flight the flight control system, not the flight control system, the weapons management system, the head-up display, the head-down display, various MFDs, etc., the helmet-mounted sensors, and they want a price for it. They want to pay for every single weapon system. Presumably, the French want India to pay something more.
Yeah.
Then we will certify it, we will test it. Now, that's something we don't want to necessarily do because we have the in-house experience to do it ourselves at home. Now, let me give you an example of the Mirage 2000. And the French frowned upon this.
Yeah.
They
During
said that,
Kargil?
don't. During Kargil and afterwards. That Mirage 2000 has been modified to fire Russian A-11 Archer or R-73 missiles. During the Kargil war, it was integrated with Israeli lightning pods. It dropped the laser-guided bombs as well.
And this was Jugaad.
It was Jugaad. It was done at home. We managed to get hold, along with Israeli, and I've written about this, with Israeli engineers, access to the source codes that we required. We made it happen. The French frowned even more, but we kept doing it because there was a real requirement for it. Other weapon systems were also subsequently integrated. For example, the Spice was integrated as well. Something called the Crystal Maze was also integrated.
Spice is what we used in Balakot.
Yeah, and Crystal Maze was also something which was deployed. We don't get into whether it was actually used or not, but that was certainly another weapon system which was there. There are other weapon systems and other aspects of Jugaad which were actually done. It was driven by the Air Force in terms of engineering solutions. Now the French after that have said that, no, look, sorry, that ain't working for us. The Rafale is a gold mine for us in terms of the IP rights, in the source codes and all of that. If you want to modify it, we can talk about it, then you pay for it and we'll do it for you. That may not work for India, but I believe if we do 114 aircraft, that is something we are going to be really pushing hard to do and say that, look, this price includes these weapon systems, Indian weapon systems, please start
baked into that
integrating them.
price.
Yeah, because, the Meteor, as great a missile as it is, with a range out to 200 plus kilometers, incredible throttleable ramjet engine, which means that it's got momentum going into hitting its target right till the end of its flight, is potentially already being outranged by variants of the PL-15 that Pakistan, China operate. That being the case, either one buys the next generation Meteor, or if we've got incredible rocketry here in India, which is being manifested in dual pulse rockets and ramjet-driven air-to-air missiles, then why not just have our own weapons? It'll be, that would be a fraction of the cost of the Meteor, right? Plus it's built at home. We can step up its actual manufacture. And if it's integrated onto that platform, and if it's our weapon of choice. And that's the bottom line. The Air Force isn't going to buy air-to-air missiles if it doesn't work. The fact that you've got, and no government is going to push that upon the Air Force chief saying, no, we built this missile, you take it. He will take it only because when push comes to shove, that missile either works or people die. Right? So that being the case, if there is greater acceptance of Indian weapon systems and a great already existing acceptance of the Rafale, the two must come together. That's what they need to do.
I see a lot of the air chief in the things that are happening right now.
This air chief, great guy.
This air chief has made it very clear that he's going to call a spade a spade. He's not going to bother too much about who else is standing there on the stage with him. And if he's annoyed, he's going to let that annoyance show. He's done it, 3-4 times since he took over as air chief last year. And it hasn't even been a year and he's already, there are tremors in HAL every time this guy walks up to a podium.
No, but he's entirely job-oriented. He has the awesome responsibility of defending our airspace. And he needs the tools and he needs the pilots, the training, the infrastructure, the logistics, the reliability, and a million of other things to all work all simultaneously.
So this, to conclude this episode, this particular partnership that's been announced now between the Tatas and Dassault, let's forget that it's Dassault and Tata, but it's a partnership to build, which is like an announcement and a commitment to actually do something concrete. That must be like a dream for the air chief to actually hear something like that.
Well, he would certainly be very happy, and I'm reading out a quote from what they released. This is a significant step towards strengthening the country's aerospace manufacturing capabilities and supporting global supply chains. And just one more little bit about this. Under the scope of the partnership, Tata Advanced Systems will set up a cutting-edge production facility in Hyderabad for the manufacture of key structural sections, including the lateral shells of the rear fuselage, the complete rear section, the central section and the front section. So this is win-win. The Rafale is being built over here. The IAF or some in the IAF would be saying, he may as well buy it.
Yeah, yeah. So,
but the others are going to come hard at the government of India saying, sorry, we have signed up on a process.
Yeah.
You have agreed upon a process.
Correct.
We believe we can outprice the French. We believe we've got a product which is as good.
Or offer something.
And we believe we need to be assessed fairly.
Yeah, yeah.
The government of India and the Air Force have to go through that process. Now, the question is, how soon can they do that?
But thanks so much for listening, guys. This was a fun episode. Lots of good things to talk about. Look forward to seeing you on the next one.
Goodbye.
Hello, Moto.
Motorola, India's leading AI smartphone brand.
गोल्ड क्लास ऑप्टिमिस्टिक रिफ्लेक्टिव ग्लास लगाओ, धूप की गर्मी को दूर भगाओ और बिजली का बिल भी बचाओ।
If it matters to you, if it matters to you, if it matters to you, it matters to India. It matters to India. It matters to India. And it matters to me. And it matters to me.
India Matters with Shivaru, only on NDTV 24/7. Is your business future ready? Join the
This year, Yoga Day goes indoors. The theme of the year is Yoga at home and Yoga with family. कोरोना के बावजूद इस बार की योग दिवस की थीम योगा फॉर वेलनेस ने करोड़ों लोगों में योग के प्रति उत्साह को और भी बढ़ाया है।
Well, it is International Yoga Day and it is the 11th year of the yoga celebrations across the country and around the world. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi, he has been leading the charge since 2015 in spreading the message of peace and spreading the message of yoga. In fact, yoga isn't just a solo stretch anymore. It is becoming a national spectacle. Yoga Sangam 2025, a grand initiative by the Ministry of Ayush, redefines the 11th International Day of Yoga. With over 1 lakh venues and millions joining in, this celebration of breath, body and unity, it is about to go down in history. In fact, speaking at the yoga event in Visakhapatnam, the Prime Minister, he said, it is remarkable how yoga is actually bringing the entire world together.
जब संयुक्त राष्ट्र में भारत ने प्रस्ताव रखा कि 21 जून को अंतर्राष्ट्रीय योग दिवस के रूप में मान्यता मिले और तब कम से कम समय में दुनिया के 175 देश हमारे इस प्रस्ताव के साथ खड़े हुए आज की दुनिया में ऐसी एकजुटता, ऐसा समर्थन सामान्य घटना नहीं है.
Now people are becoming mentally sick. They are becoming problem for their families, for the society. If everybody will practice yoga, then at least that calmness and also good things will happen for them, for the society. Always I am saying one should practice yoga and do positive things.
Do you really know the company you invest in? What is the real picture